Welcome to the Global Peace Film Festival Lives Online Conversation 2021 Festival Edition. Please join me, Kelly Devine, the Artistic Director, and Nina Stripe, the Executive Director, in conversation with Lars Ostmann behind the film Building Common Ground, which you can see as a part of our streaming program, which begins September 27th and runs through October 3rd. We do also have a very limited in-person set of screenings, which begin September 21st and run through September 26th. All the information about Building Common Ground and our other films and upcoming events can be found by going to peacefilmfest.org. And now let's welcome Lars into the conversation. We're delighted to have you. Thank you, Lars.
It's so great to be with you. Thank you for inviting the film and for inviting me. And I'm very much looking forward to our conversation.
Hi, Lars. It's so good to see you. So tell us about the film.
Yeah, basically, it's a film about a school. The school is called UWC Robert Bosch College. UWC stands for United World College. And this place is something of, often when I talk about it, I don't say school first. I say it's a film about something like a village where people live and learn together. Or you might even say it's an intentional community, a place for peace building, a place for learning and living a sustainable future. And it's also a place, I would say, which has one of the most diverse communities on Earth. It's in terms of the backgrounds of the students, but also the staff. And the film really follows those different bits and pieces that had to come together so that this school can come into being. And so you see something about the original idea, which was by a German educator a long time ago, and he had lived through wars and actually had to leave Germany because he was of the wrong, he had the wrong background. And he was always looking to found such a school in his home country. And I think the beginning spark really was to bring young people together to know each other so they would not fight each other, you know. And I think of course, the idea has progressed, and now there's many United World Colleges on our planet, and I hope there are more to come. But also, it's not only a film about the United World Colleges; it's also a film about any community that comes into being. There's always things that have to come together, and so you see how the first students arrive and the first staff arrive and how they are beginning to make this place be alive.
Well, and living is definitely at the center of the whole concept. How do we live together? How do we live intentional lives? It's a wonderful kind of portrait of this of this intentionality. And I like the kind of play on words of the title of the Building Common Ground, that it is both the figurative, the kind of common ground we establish between others in order to get to know them and to accept them, but also the physical building of the campus, of this particular campus. But I'm curious, Lars, how did you come to know and were attracted to telling this story?
So I myself have been to a United World College. I was very lucky to get a scholarship to go to Li Puchun United World College in Hong Kong a long time ago. Oh, I actually have a photo I will show you. This is me here. And yeah, those are my fellow classmates, and we've been on a rally for human rights together. And so I've spent 2 years in at this place, and I was always wondering, how did this come into being? How could this be that, you know, that there's this idea in the first place, and then that there's people who donate for it? Because you must know that those students, they have very different backgrounds, and there are some very poor students as well, and everybody has the chance to have a scholarship. So it's really, in that sense, also a very diverse community, because borders are not just between countries. There are many more borders between us on Earth that we need to understand and need to maybe make a little bit more fluent, you know, like easier to cross. And so, well, I went my ways. I studied a bit of social anthropology, a bit of arts and film in the end. And then I heard about this plan that there might be the possibility of building such a place, such a United World College in my home country, Germany. And I was there when the becoming headmaster or principal gave a tour, and by chance I was in his tour on the grounds of this old monastery. And I told him, I'm just starting film studies, you know, like couldn't we record some of the moments along the path of making this place? And he said, yeah, why not? I mean, let's just do it. And so basically, along my studies of along my years in film school, I got the opportunity to just, well, basically, I could stay there for free. I could, you know, eat in the canteen. I could, and I just took my own camera, and sometimes I took filmmaker friends with me, and we recorded the end. And in the beginning, it was actually interesting, because I was planning on beginning the film right away, and then stopping when the school was finished. But I realized that the school was only finished. Well, you know, when the first students arrived, I thought, this is the school. But I realized that there was also a community growing, and that really I had to stay there a little longer. Also, I mean, I fell in love with the place, and with, you know, with this community that gradually began to become alive. And so yeah, I was there another year, and whenever I had time, I tried to document some of the coming together. And yeah, I had, I think so in many ways I was very lucky, also having this background with my own time at the United World College, but also to have heard about it in an early stage, that this new United World College would come into being.
Well, Lars, you mentioned already that you had started with one plan, and that once you got involved in the shooting, you changed. But another thing that I wanted to kind of ask you about is oftentimes with a kind of longitudinal study, although this is just a year or so, there's often a filmmaking approach to follow one or two characters through that whole change. But I found your approach really interesting, that you talked to so many people involved, and that ties back to that word community, that you showed the breadth of the community and the wonderful aspects of building this community, and also the you know, the ways in which building community is work, and doesn't always happen smoothly, and that it is you know, a process.
Yes, sure. And I think for many students and also for staff, such an environment as the school is very demanding. And, you know, some of the students come out of war zones, and they bring with them yeah, difficult stories and which they need to digest. And then when you're suddenly in a new environment, and everything is, you know, you need to find a new identity. Maybe it's not easy. And I think today there's a lot of space also given to those challenges in the United World Colleges. And also what was surprising to me actually was that that I didn't know how much the becoming of such a place is up to individuals. Not only all the students who decide to really go there, to leave their home and to join this new community, and the staff, of course, but also the decisions of individuals to have this dream in the first place, to never give up on this dream, that they want this rich, diverse place where people can get to know each other so they don't fight each other. And people who decide to donate great funds and to donate their time. So, and also another thing that I've noticed during the filming, which wasn't planned, is that you mentioned, you know, I've talked to many different individuals, and I really wanted to hear their voices. And at one point, when the students arrived, I knew I need to hear their own languages. I need to hear their voices in their own languages. And some of them, when I made the interviews in their languages, and we have about almost 30 languages and dialects in the film, when I started doing the interviews, some of them said, "Oh no, I've already forgotten how to speak my own language," or now, you know, like I start having dreams in English because we speak English here. Or, and so this language aspect, and also just the beauty of diverse sounds, and you know, how it's not only the faces, it's also how we talk and how we talk with our bodies, and it's which is such a beautiful aspect of diversity on our planet. So yeah, and of course there's also the place as one of the protagonists as well, I would say, which the place, of course, it's an old monastery with a garden where the monks were living mostly sustainably and planting their own food. And today students are also planting food and eating some of it. Although, as one of the teachers mentions, you would need a whole valley to have enough food for the whole college community. And it's always also good to be really honest about what you can do, but still to try. And yes, so those were some things I found on along the way. And also I must say that it's this aspect of individuals. At some point I felt that I'm part of the community myself in some way, and coming back years later, now the first generation has left the college. There's new students, but there's still this spirit, or this culture that they have established. No.
Well, you mentioned you know, the commitment to building that community and to creating that kind of peaceful place. And I think the phrase you use, so that we can stop, you know, fighting, so that we can stop the, you know, but it does also, and this is really key to one of the ways in which the Global Peace Film Festival thinks about or conceptualizes peace. You know, that peace is not some idealized end result, that instead peace is a kind of framework and a way of moving through life, which will inevitably engender some kind of conflict. And so conflict isn't, you know, the goal isn't, again, to have some kind of idealist absence of conflict, but instead a more productive and healthy way of processing our differences, of celebrating them where we can, working to find some kind of comedy together, where and I think that your film really captures that really well in it, in following that community building. So if you could just speak a little bit about that intentionality behind behind the college itself.
Sure, I think that as you say, and there is no one ideal world. It's always in flux, and we need to, I think, be aware, or it's helpful to be, at least to be aware of that, we are in this constantly changing, constantly moving, and while we do so, it's good to be aware of where we move towards, and there's always choices. I mean, and this would also be my invitation to the audience watching the film, that we all bring different backgrounds with us, and we all have different paths. With different also possibilities, different abilities, and but the question is really, what can we do with what we have, and how can we understand the others? How can I understand you, so that I can, with what I have, with where I am, support us together, so that we can have a peaceful and sustained and long-lasting life on this planet. I think it's so much really about understanding each other. And we all, I mean, we all go through some kind of education, and many of us are part of some form of institution or organization of groups. So there is those frameworks and these structures. And my hope is that we become more aware of those structures and how we can actually set them up so they are supportive of our common goals. How can we build those common grounds that are supportive of a peaceful and diverse life together? Yes.
That's such an important that's such an important thing to strive for and to work towards. So how can people watching this, and the audiences watching the film, how can they support this work?
I think I would be very happy, very grateful if there's just some inspiration in the audience, and if they can bring some ideas maybe into their own communities and their own lives, and then of course, depending on your position in life, maybe you want to make a film on your own about something that happens around you, or maybe you want to donate so that others can make films about important places or important struggles or new ways of doing things. You can also we actually do have a website, and which is buildingcommonground.net, and you can write your name and your email address, and you will get informed when we have more screenings. And also I have 2 new film projects which I will let you know about if you write your email into that form. And one of them is a fictional, which is about an intentional community also, which is peaceful, which is egalitarian, which shares all resources. But then someone from the outside comes in, and with maybe from our world, and almost destroys this community. So I'm thinking a lot about those utopias, which are always in flux, which are never for real, but which give us direction and dream. And the other project I'm thinking about doing is to have a look at, to meet some of the students who have been there in the first generation of Building Common Ground of UWC Robert Bosch College, and to see what they are doing now. Maybe visit them in their home countries or where they are now, and see the the echoes of this place, and maybe they're, you know, maybe also they're coming together for their 10-year reunion, if they let me be there. Yeah.
Oh, that would be marvelous. Well, Lars, we will definitely keep in touch with you so that we can, through the Global Peace Film Festival social media channels, so that we can alert people to updates about those projects, which sound really interesting. So all the best to you with those. And again,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. And to remind folks that are listening, if you do want to sign up for direct updates, please go to buildingcommonground.net. That's buildingcommonground.net. And you can learn about all of the updates from Lars. And for information about all of the upcoming events for the Global Peace Film Festival, please go to peacefilmfest.org and follow us on social media for up-to-the-minute updates. Thank you for listening, and we will see you at the next Glow.